Hey, welcome to Sam Outside. I'm Sam and I'm outside. And I've taken an opportunity to explore one of my favorite water features out in the forest. It's something a little different, a little unusual. This little body of water that you see, it's not that big at all. It is, right? It's less than an acre. But what makes this little body of water so unique, it's known as a kettle pond. So what defines it as a kettle pond is that it has no source of water feeding it. It's actually, well, the source of water would be below it, right? So it's spring fed. What makes it a kettle pond is that the terrain all around me forms this bowl. So right now I've got slopes on the other side, and this is sort of caught in between, sort of a crater, if you will. And over the decades, dare I say even a century, if you look here along the shoreline I'm standing in, all right, there is the forest's attempt to continually grow out over what used to be the shoreline. So I am in fact not standing. I'm steadily sinking. I'm not actually standing on solid ground. I'm standing on what is arguably just a layer of roots and moss. In fact, as I walk, as I stand here just recording, I'm steadily sinking. It's just burr, 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 burr. I'm just coming down. So that's what's making it a kettle pond. So the really interesting part about this experience is that if I just imagine it, right, every year, like whether it's an inch or even just a little bit, the forest is slowly reclaiming more and more and more of the water surface. So in fact, if you look behind me here, that water actually extends not just beyond the trees, but actually the pond is much larger. It goes way underneath. So the trees you see behind me, even the ones right here, they're not actually growing on ground. There's just a significant amount of peat and intertwined roots, and I'm still sinking, that are making up the stable surface and purchase of these trees. The kettle pond, because it is not fed, I mean, we've got a small creek leading out of it, which might access other bodies of water. There are some unique flora and fauna that exist specifically in and around these little forest pools. So because of its terrain, because of the very wet feet that all this plant life would require, even just down here on the ground, this is all peat. It's all peat moss and grasses. It makes for very acidic growing conditions. So it's black spruce, tamarack. A little bit further in, we're getting some balsam fir. And then beyond that, we get into our pines. But it is all coniferous trees, things that like acidic soil and that can tolerate peat. But one of the very unique things that I find here, and I don't find anywhere else along the river or along some of our lakes, is this plant. All right, so this is a pitcher plant. I did a video on the pitcher plant in winter because I found one out on a stump. But what makes this plant very unique is it's a carnivorous plant. So you see here the little cilia, right? So when it grows, it's just lying on the peat like this. Sorry, it has sort of a vessel inside, so there's water inside, but the water connected to the stem creates enzymes, digestive enzymes that have a scent, and they're going to attract insects, maybe even some other some land critters as well. But the cilia you see there on the lip, they are feeding anything that gets caught inside down inward, and then kaploosh. All right, the animal, the insect slowly dies, and as it sinks, the design and shape of that belly bring it right into the root system, and so it's getting its energy literally from the proteins of the insect life that it gathers. So it is a carnivorous plant, and they can live for decades, continually growing and growing. And so the very important part that loves acidic soil, loves peat, prefers not to be interfered with. In amongst the moss as well, and on any sort of surface that's wood, we'll get some other coniferous plants, some small sundews. Again, there's like just under 200 different species of sundew, and they're found on every continent except Antarctica. Various forms of pitcher plants, right? So I'm just reaching down here in the moss right? And there's a small example of a sundew, all right? Just these little petals with a little sticky enzyme that's digestive. So the insects crawling over the peat, probably ants and other small insects, they are going to get trapped and sink in, and then the petal slowly forms over, and those enzymes start to digest, feeding itself some protein. So even as I just continue to walk here along the surface, all right, I can just see other pitcher plants growing. I see a fly just investigating. Yeah, so yeah, just a very unique land feature, one that I don't get to experience a lot. I know where there are a couple. And again, if I want to explore something very unique and different, unique habitats, interactions between different wildlife, I'll find something different just in my mixed forest by coming to explore my local Kettle Pond. I have been on this little pond in winter. The ice does form, but it is not solid along the shore. Again, because of the highly acidic nature of the water's edge, and the fact that it doesn't really bond well and form ice. Ice will form on the water surface on the lake, but along the shore, that's where the risk is, because again, we've got all this decaying nitrous and sulfur filled. We'll get some methanes. You can smell it. It's kind of like a bog. It doesn't freeze solid. So the risk, once you get on the ice, you're safe, but getting from shore onto solid ice, that's where the risk is, because the ice is never strong, never thick. So I do get to experience this pond all year round, and one of the strategies for the wolves and coyotes in our area is to chase deer and moose toward a kettle pond. They'll come down, and these long-legged, very heavy animals will get so far, and their fight-flight response is to get out and swim, across a short little body of water that the wolves would have to circle around. Well, the wolves know this, and if the animal does make it into the water, they really struggle to get out of the water because their hooves and their long, skinny legs pierce into that peat. There's no solid ground, so they have no footing. So the animal struggles, and might ultimately get all fours just suspended, swimming in the water below, but hung up by its chest or belly, making an easy kill. So that is a strategy I've not seen, but I've heard that wolves and coyotes will use if they hunt near where kettle ponds are available. So because of the lack of fish in a kettle pond that's landlocked like this, amazing space to find salamanders and other aquatic amphibians, which prime breeding for snakes and other things that feed off of aquatic animals. Unique birds that would only feed off in and around water. They wouldn't have the same risk of predation themselves. So very unique interactions. If you can find a kettle pond near you, be curious. Go out and explore. All right, thanks for watching. Go outside. Talk to you soon.